Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today, I'll be doing a review of the new mid-tier addition to the Mudmaster line of G-Shock, the GWG-100. But first, I would like to thank Silvertime Watchstar for supplying this watch, and if you want to check them out, you can click on the link in the description. I will also do a detailed tutorial on all the functions of this watch, so when that video becomes available, you will be able to click here to watch it. When I did my video review of the GWG-1000 Mudmaster, a lot of people in the comment section said they would like to see Casio release a solar or solar atomic version that wouldn't be as expensive as the top of the line GWG-1000. Well, this recent release gives me the impression that Casio does listen to what people want, as it's just that, a self-charging, self-adjusting Mudmaster that will not cost you an arm and a leg. The official retail price is $300, which is lower even than the $320 of the GWG-1000. However, in the real world, it's actually slightly more expensive than the GG. So what is this watch exactly, and should one buy a GG or this? Well, this basically is a GWG-1000 with a different module. The dimensions and looks of the case and strap are exactly the same, although Casio specs say that there's a slight difference in width. But just like the GG, it is a large watch. The diameter is 54.9 mm with a lug-to-lug of 56.2. The thickness is 17.3 and the watch weighs 88 grams. This still makes it smaller than the GWG-1000, and thanks to the wings that fill the gap between the caseback and the strap, it wears surprisingly comfortable on even smaller wrists. I find it to be one of the most comfortable G-Shocks I have worn, and I have a 6.9-inch wrist, which is anything but large. The large look is further emphasized by the bulky and rugged bezel design, which is common to every Mudmaster. The shape of the bezel, combined with the deep sloping hour markers, make the watch look like a wheel taken off an off-road vehicle, shrunk down and placed on your wrist. And considering this watch is called the Mudmaster, just makes it that more believable. It also shares the same button construction as the rest of the Mudmaster line, where steel tubes are welded to the case and then the buttons are put through them. The other similarities are the strap and the buckle. They're the same as on the GWG-1000, and I love the way they look and especially the way they feel. The strap is very thick but has just enough softness to make it comfortable while not making it feel squishy and too soft like so many silicone straps that manufacturers like to put out these days. So it's definitely stiffer than the new Seiko Prospect straps, but nowhere near as stiff as the old Z22s were. If I was to choose a strap for my diver's watch, this is the material I would want it to be made of. It just feels perfect. So with the similarities done, let's move to the differences and to what makes this so much cheaper than the GWG-1000. While the GG uses the module from a GA-1000 only flipped upside down, this one uses the module from the GAW series and also from the newer GST series, but with rearranged LCD displays. Because of this, you lose all sensor functionality, so compared to the GG, it lacks the compass and thermometer, and compared to the GWG, on top of the compass and thermometer, it lacks a barometer, altimeter, and also a sapphire crystal, which explains the lower price. But just like in life, you lose some, you gain some, so compared to the GG-1000, you get self-charging and self-adjusting, meaning you will never have to worry about the battery, and if you live within the coverage area of the 6 atomic towers in the world, you won't have to worry about adjusting the time either. Other functions include a world time function with 31 time zones and 48 cities, a 100-minute countdown timer settable down to 1 second, 5 alarms, and a 1/100th of a second stopwatch that sadly goes up to only 1 hour. This 1-hour stopwatch is the biggest letdown of this watch and definitely falls into the lose some category. Another area where we definitely gain some is the nighttime visibility. Just like the other Mudmasters, it uses proper lume, that in this case is very good, but nothing to write home about. However, pressing the light button gives you a nice surprise. Unlike a regular LED used on other Mudmasters, this watch uses a blacklight or UV LED, which makes only the lumed parts and all the parts painted with UV reactive paint come to life, something we have seen on the GA-1000. However, while on the GA-1000 that was the only illumination, meaning the digital part of the face was completely invisible in the dark, on this, Casio decided to give a proper backlight for all the LCD screens as well, making this one of the most readable and usable watches in the dark. But don't get me wrong, it's far from perfect, as all the different colors used detract from simple time telling that you get from, let's say, a GBA-800 I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. But I do believe the usage of a UV LED in combination with proper backlight is the way to go for analog digitals. Now, if only they started implementing the night mode that Timex uses, where the backlight doesn't go off as long as you're pressing the buttons within 3 seconds, it would make these perfect. So to conclude, which Mudmaster should you get? When it comes to comparing this to the GWG-1000, they really are not on the same planet. Not only when it comes to features, but also the price. So the question is whether to go for this or the GG-1000. And that question can only be answered by you, depending on what features are more important to you. A compass and thermometer or solar atomic. I know which one I would go for. It's this. Even if it lacked the atomic function, I would still choose this. And not just because of the unique illumination, although that would be one of the reasons, but because of the fact I would be using that illumination and all the other functions on this watch worry-free and without second thoughts, as I would know the watch would restore any energy I consumed by using them. This is something a regular battery-operated watch simply doesn't offer. So with each press of the light button or usage of any function, you're taking a bit of life out of your battery. That eventually makes you avoid using power-hungry functions unless absolutely necessary in the efforts to make the battery last just a little longer, which is especially true if you have a watch that's been on one battery for much longer than it was specified, like my DW-5000 that is still on its original battery after almost 10 years despite the battery being rated to only 2. It has made me wonder how much longer will it last, making me do exactly what I just described. Avoid using the light and other functions unless absolutely necessary. Now, this behavior will seem silly to regular people, but if you're a G-Shock nut, you will know what I'm talking about. Not to mention that each battery change brings the risk of damaging or incorrectly placing the gasket, which would eventually result in a destroyed watch after exposure to water, something that I personally went through. Ever since then, if there is a solar option of a watch I like, I will opt for that, which makes this watch a better option than the GG-1000, at least to me. And a little side note before we end, there's an Asian market version that is solar only, so a completely identical watch but stripped off its self-adjusting function. Its code is GSG-100. I thought I'd mention it just so you don't end up buying a wrong watch if atomic feature is a must for you. Well, that's it for this week, and like I said, stay tuned for a detailed tutorial. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe by pressing this button right here, and until the next video, bye.